Welcome to the deep dive. So, in today's world, we're all just swimming in information. Every single day, you're trying to make sense of data, news, research.
It's overwhelming sometimes.
Totally. But how do you really know what you know?
Hmm.
And that question gets even trickier, doesn't it? When AI is increasingly involved in how we access, process, and maybe even understand that information.
It's a fundamental shift, really. The whole way we acquire knowledge is changing. We're moving beyond just finding stuff
Right.
to really understanding where it comes from, its quality, and, well, basically, can we trust it?
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're jumping into some really sophisticated advancements in AI, specifically something called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG.
RAG.
Our mission here is to kind of unpack how these RG systems are getting smarter, how AI is starting to change real-world things like administrative tasks, and why concepts like, citation, the quality of an argument, and just plain old critical thinking are actually more vital than ever now. We'll look at the latest innovations, maybe uncover some potential problems, and explore these new frameworks people are designing to ensure accuracy and promote responsible AI use.
It's definitely a journey. We're looking at both the tech side, the really cutting-edge stuff, and also the human impact, which is huge.
Yeah.
The key thing, I think, is that AI isn't just like a static encyclopedia anymore. It's becoming more like a dynamic detective, reasoning across sight, sound, complex relationships. It's really pushing the boundaries of what an information system can know.
Okay, let's unpack that, starting with RAG itself.
Yeah.
My understanding is its main job is to connect the LLM's kind of fixed training data with dynamic external info. Is that about right? And how big a deal is that really?
That's exactly it. Think of it like this. Your LLM has read, say, 1,000,000 books.
Okay.
But RI lets it quickly skim a brand new scientific paper or maybe a live news feed to give you the most current relevant answer possible.
Oh.
The revolutionary part is combining that huge internal knowledge base with fresh external context. Now, the early ARD systems, they were groundbreaking, sure, but they could be slow. Sometimes they didn't quite get the context right, and they mostly just worked with text. So these limitations really showed we needed, well, much more advanced approaches.
And the innovation coming out now is just wild. I mean, when I first read about video RAG, extending RAG to video,
Yeah.
that kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
So, like, if I wanted to find every single time someone, I don't know, sighs dramatically in a 10-hour documentary, video RAG could theoretically do that. That's incredibly specific.
It potentially could, yeah. It uses AI that understands both what it's seeing and what it's hearing.
Wow.
So it processes spoken words, visual cues, even audio patterns in the video. It can handle unlimited length video and lets you ask things like, find scenes showing emotional conflict.
Okay.
The magic is in these really sophisticated vision language models it uses. But it does need a lot of computing power, very high GPU resources.
I bet. But okay, what if the information isn't flat like a document or a video? What if it's all interconnected, like a web of people, events, maybe scientific citations? That's where graph RAG comes in, right?
Exactly. You've hit on a key point. Graph-based RAG adds this whole other dimension. It enhances context by structuring information as nodes and relationships. Think of it like a huge, complex family tree, or, a network of research papers linked by who cited whom.
So it understands the connections.
Precisely. Some graph RAG systems, for example, are great for academic research because they map those citation links. Others use something called graph neural networks, GNNs, to get better accuracy in really jargon-heavy fields like analyzing patents by reasoning across all those structured connections.
And one of these, RAG, and you mentioned it's used in biomedical problem solving. It uses this technique called graph of thoughts. God, that sounds fascinating. Like the AI is brainstorming.
Kind of, yeah. It breaks down a complex problem into smaller linked ideas. And the really cool part is it can actually show us that thought process.
You can see its reasoning.
You can see the steps it took. It makes the whole thing much more transparent. This framework takes these complex knowledge graphs and turns them into vector databases, essentially translating all that connected info into a mathematical language AI can process super quickly.
Right.
And it works. One study showed Karagan boosted accuracy on certain reasoning questions from around 56% to over 70%. That's a big jump, partly thanks to that visible reasoning process.
That transparency seems to be a running theme here. It pops up again with something called agentic R, right? Which sounds like it takes the AI thinking idea even further.
It does. Agentic ARG is almost like the AI has its own internal team of little AI assistants.
Ah. Really?
Yeah, each one has a specific job, and we can actually see these agents communicate and collaborate. It improves things like topic modeling because it processes data as numerical embeddings that's cheaper computationally, allows bigger data sets. But more importantly, it increases transparency by showing those agent interactions, the model's thought process. And it anchors the retrieval in an external knowledge base, which helps cut down on hallucinations and keeps the results consistent.
So it seems like we're moving towards hybrid retrieval. It's not just one technique anymore. People are mixing things up.
Definitely. Combining vector search for, say, unstructured text with keyword indexes for exact matches and graph retrieval for those structured connections we talked about.
Makes sense.
And then often there's another AI layer, a re-ranker, that double-checks the initial search results.
Like an editor.
Exactly like an editor. It ensures only the most relevant stuff gets through, which leads to much higher quality answers from the ROG system. We're also seeing LLMs getting better at parsing documents, tools like Copali creating embeddings that mix text, images, diagrams,
Oh,
and
wow.
even text-to-SQL, which lets regular people ask questions of databases using natural language.
So Arge is clearly getting way beyond just finding documents. But this is where the deep dive really starts, I think. These aren't just technical puzzles. They massively impact how we interact with AI, how we trust it, especially when it touches sensitive parts of our lives.
Absolutely. And even with all the sophistication, our GAI systems still have common failure points. Sometimes, the answer just isn't in the documents the AI has access to.
Right. Missing content. That's straightforward enough.
Or the answer is there, but it's buried. It doesn't get ranked highly enough by the retrieval system, so the LLM never sees it. Missed top-ranked documents.
Okay. Or maybe the LLM gets the right document, but it still messes up.
Yeah, not extracted. The answer's right there in the context, but the LLM fails to pull it out cleanly. Maybe there's too much noise or conflicting info in the snippet. And then there's just getting the answer wrong in terms of specifics. Too general, maybe too specific, or it just leaves out key details. Incomplete or incorrect specificity.
And I guess these problems get way worse if the information itself is messy, like ambiguous knowledge bases.
Exactly. Imagine you're asking about corporate tax rates. One document says 25% for a certain income. Another says 23% for the same income. What does the AI do?
Good question. What does it do?
Well, developers are working on solutions. Maybe present both conflicting pieces to the user, or use metadata like publication date or source credibility to pick one,
Okay.
or combine ARG with older methods like traditional keyword search, BM25, and use rank fusion to try and surface the most likely authoritative answer. It's a tricky problem.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, how much we just assume about knowing something and how AI is forcing us to look closer.
Which brings us squarely to the human impact, especially in high-stakes areas like public services. The sources highlighted a really interesting case study about SNFP applicants' food assistants interacting with an LLM-assisted system, and it was, well, a real double-edged sword.
How so? What were the upsides?
Well, on one hand, it seemed to ease some traditional burdens. People reported feeling a kind of psychological safety.
Really, with an AI.
Yeah, feeling watched less, feeling more free to say whatever they want to, which could actually lead to them sharing more complete information.
That's counterintuitive, but I can see it. Less judgment, maybe.
Perhaps. And then there's transparency. The LLM could give personalized explanations, make policies clearer, explain benefit calculations, which is huge when you're often faced with vague rejection letters or confusing advice.
Yeah, that bureaucracy can be opaque.
And obviously, efficiency. Less time waiting, not having to sit on the phone for an hour on hold, streamlining the whole application process.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good. Speed, clarity, less stress maybe. But you said a double-edged sword. What were the downsides?
Right. It also introduced new burdens, new psychological costs. People worried the AI might be too strict,
Yeah.
leaning towards harsher interpretations of rules.
The computer says no fear.
Exactly. Leading to fewer favorable decisions, a loss of meaningful human engagement, feeling like you're just parameters, not a person with circumstances.
That perceived loss of empathy. That's significant.
Very. And many people actually preferred a hybrid approach. Keep the AI for efficiency, but have humans involved for empathy, especially in interviews or complex cases.
Makes sense. Any other burdens?
Yeah, learning costs. People might need to figure out how to talk to these systems effectively, which is different from talking to a person or filling out a form. And compliance costs, basically. Trusting the AI.
Trusting its competence. Like, does it know the latest rules?
Precisely. Policies change all the time, as one participant put it. Some felt human caseworkers offered valuable experience and foresight that an AI might lack.
So it boils down to this trust gap.
Yeah, the study talked about three kinds of trust. Competence, can it do the job? Integrity, does it follow principles fairly? And benevolence, does it have good intentions towards me?
Okay.
And interestingly, people's preference for human versus AI often seem driven more by their beliefs about these things than hard evidence of performance.
So designing these systems isn't just about the tech. It's deeply about human psychology, trust, how tech can help, but also harm unintentionally. Can we design AI that actually seems to care?
That's the core challenge. The study concluded that for AI to work well in public service, we need empathy-first LLMs. AI that can give proactive, helpful guidance, kind of like the best human caseworkers, building that appropriate trust.
Which leads us nicely into the broader issue of information quality itself. If AI is generating more content, how do we ensure it's good, accountable, verifiable?
Exactly. And a huge piece of that puzzle, maybe the missing link, is citation in LLMs.
Ah, right. Like, where did this answer come from?
Precisely. A web search gives you a link, a source. LLMs often just give you the answer,
Yeah.
which creates massive issues with intellectual property, ethics, transparency, accountability, you name it.
And it's technically hard to do, right?
Yes,
Because the info is baked into the model.
it is. LLMs internalize info into these complex, hidden representations. Tracing a specific output back to one specific input document is incredibly difficult, maybe impossible sometimes. A single sentence could be influenced by thousands of sources.
What are people trying?
Well, hybrid systems, like we discussed with RAG, help for stuff pulled directly from external sources. But citing the knowledge that's actually embedded in the model's parameters, the parametric content, that's the really tough nut to crack.
I can imagine. And even if you can add citations, there are pitfalls.
Oh, absolutely. You could have over-citation, just drowning the user, or inaccurate citations. The AI points to a source that doesn't actually back up the claim.
Oof, yeah.
Outdated citations, spreading old info, the risk of propagating misinformation by lending false authority through a bad citation, citation bias where the AI prefers certain sources, even potentially diminished creativity if the AI only sticks to easily citable facts.
And the whole legal question.
Yeah.
Who's responsible if an AI cites something wrong?
Completely undefined territory right now.
So how do we even begin to fact-check this stuff?
One approach is the provenance framework. It's described as a lightweight fact checker. It uses clever AI models to first score how relevant a potential source document is to the user's query,
Okay.
and then it checks if the AI's generated answer is actually supported by the facts in those selected sources. It helps flag stuff that's non-factual or, hallucinated.
That sounds useful. Getting closer to verifying the facts. But what about the quality of an argument, not just the facts? Evaluating that seems even harder.
It's a classic challenge, whether it's a human or an AI making the argument. How do you objectively assess its quality?
Right.
Researchers usually break it down into three aspects. First, logical quality. Is the argument cogent? Are the reasons, premises acceptable, relevant, and actually sufficient to support the conclusion?
Okay, the logic. Makes sense.
Second, rhetorical quality. This is about persuasive effect. Is it credible? Does it appeal emotionally? Is it clear, well-organized? Does it actually convince you?
So how persuasive it is.
And third, dialectical quality. This looks at how reasonable the argument is for resolving a disagreement or solving a problem. Is it acceptable to the intended audience? Does it actually address the issue? Does it handle counter-arguments well?
Reasonableness in context. And people
Yeah.
are trying to get computers to assess this.
Yeah, it's an active research area. Using machine learning to try and evaluate arguments along these different dimensions, it's complex.
Which naturally brings up the big question about critical thinking in the age of AI. Are we outsourcing our thinking? Is relying on tools like ChatGPT going to make us, especially students, less able to analyze, evaluate, and judge information for ourselves?
That's definitely a concern you hear a lot. And it's not entirely unfounded. Over-reliance could potentially blunt those skills,
Right.
but it's not the whole picture. What's really interesting is how AI, like ChatGPT, can actually be used to support critical thinking if used right.
How so?
Well, it can provide diverse viewpoints on a topic, helping you compare perspectives. It can give feedback on your writing structure, helping you organize your thoughts better.
Okay.
It can push you to explain things more clearly by providing a wide range of information you need to synthesize. It can help improve communication and logical reasoning skills. Even in math, it can suggest problem-solving strategies you can then try and verify.
So it's a tool,
Yeah,
a potentially powerful one, but still a tool that needs wielding correctly.
exactly. The key is balance. It's there to support, not replace, deep, independent critical thinking. Users have to stay active, check the AI's output for bias or errors, and educators really need to guide students on how to use it wisely.
This sounds related to a framework mentioned in the sources, Evaluative Contextual Synthesis, or ECS. Sounds like
Yeah.
a way to formalize that kind of deeper thinking.
It is. ECS is a methodology for moving beyond just gathering information to actually creating sophisticated knowledge. It has three core pillars.
Okay, what are they?
First, contextual, understanding the bigger picture, the environment, the history, the factors influencing the information. You can't judge something in a vacuum.
Right, context is king.
Second, evaluative. This is the critical judgment part. Assessing the information's value, its relevance, its quality, how effective it is, whether it fits your purpose,
Yeah,
actively weighing it.
but filtering and judging.
And third, synthetic. This is where you bring it all together. Creating a coherent story, a comprehensive model, or a solid understanding from all the information you've contextualized and evaluated.
Contextual, evaluative, synthetic, ECS. And this
That-
applies to AI systems too.
Yes, particularly enterprise AI. ECS principles can extend a RAG by adding things like modeling the authority of different sources, resolving conflicts based on evidence, understanding information over time, all to mitigate misinformation and build more trustworthy AI.
So it really feels like we've come full circle, from the nitty-gritty of advanced RAG
Yeah, multimodal, graphs, agent,
to the very human experiences with AI and public services, the trust issues,
in lead for empathy.
and now landing on the absolute necessity of citation, argument quality, and frameworks like ECS to guide our own critical thinking alongside these powerful tools.
It shows how AI is challenging us to be more discerning, more thoughtful than ever before. And thankfully, research is working on building AI that's not just smarter, but also more responsible and accountable, a partner, hopefully, in our thinking.
So, summing up, we've looked at the cutting edge of RAG, seen how AI is reshaping human experiences, sometimes in unexpected ways, and really dug into why quality, citation, and critical thinking are non-negotiable in this AI era.
And as these AI systems weave themselves deeper into, well, pretty much everything we do, changing how we get and process information, maybe the real question isn't just what AI can do for us.
What is it then?
Maybe it's about what AI requires of us in return.
Requires in terms of...
Our vigilance, our willingness to engage critically, our commitment to making sure the knowledge AI presents is genuinely understood, properly evaluated, and applied wisely.
So the final thought for you, our listeners. How will you use these incredible advancements while consciously sharpening your own judgment in this constantly evolving information landscape?
Something to think about until our next deep dive.